Hey, Megan. I'm so happy to have you here on the Audacious Explorer podcast today. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we were chatting a little bit before about how you woke up quite early. I'm really, really grateful for that. Neither of us are really morning person, so I do know what type of commitment that that requires. Hey guys, so I'm seeing that now not many people are live. You will get the chance to watch this recording afterwards. So Megan, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself and maybe talk a little bit about how you got to doing what you're doing.
Sure. My name is Megan Close Zavala, and I'm a book coach and literary agent. And basically, what book coach means is, just like you would hire a health coach to help you, get your body in as good a shape as possible. That's what I do for people with their books. So with their with their various writing projects. And how I got started, I did not start out in the publishing industry or working with writers. I moved to Los Angeles to work in the film industry, and I did that for 7 years. And I eventually realized that I was not in the right business. It was very exciting and definitely a learning experience. But I needed to find what my correct path would be. And I definitely wanted more flexibility in my life and something that meant more and all that, like most people deal with at some point in their life. And it didn't seem like a blessing at the time, but I got laid off from my last job in the entertainment industry. And my husband got a job working on a movie in India, so I moved to India with him for a year and kind of got to do a little soul searching,
Wow.
and got to do lots of traveling, which was also another dream of mine. And then when I came back, I thought, okay, this is it. I'm going to work in publishing. I've loved books all my life. I've loved writing all my life. I'd done lots of freelance work up to that point, doing editing and approving and rejecting and selecting manuscripts and script projects for production companies and literary agencies and you name it, I've read it. And so I got a job as an editorial assistant at a literary agency at Keller Media. And within a few months, I was promoted to agent and I started representing authors. But what I realized while representing authors is, agents only make money if the book sells. So we get commission on that. And, but a lot of writers that I was meeting weren't ready for representation yet. But I wasn't able to help them in my capacity as a literary agent. So I thought I really need to find a way to help people, solve their problems and, nip things in the bud and stuff so that, they can be given the opportunity. So that is why I have started, doing book coaching much more. So that's where I am today.
Yeah, there were several things that caught my attention, like India. Oh my God.
It was an amazing experience. India is wonderful, and we just had such a great time all through Southeast Asia. It was just such a great experience.
Yeah, it's really interesting how I feel that many of the people that I meet, like digital nomads, they've been through this path too. So
Yes.
in India or
Yes,
Asia.
I mean, it's funny because you feel like, well, this is such a unique story, but I've talked to lots of people that have lived in India, including my next door neighbor who I grew up with. He's but yeah, and really living in India, being so far ahead as far as time zones go. I mean, that taught me a lot of interesting lessons about working, freelance, working from home and stuff like that. So it was a really great training ground in that, in addition to getting to see the Taj Mahal and, all of those amazing things.
Yeah, I guess it's unique because each of us has a very different experience there. I really, really like the fact that most people who decide at one point that they are gonna have they're gonna lead a life on their terms, do take it through spirituality. Who am I? What am I to do? So for me, it's really interesting to see this. Like most everybody that I meet thinks
Yes,
that.
yeah, and it's so great because it really teaches you that there's a bigger world out there. You know, people say, go to college, get your degree. That's what you should do for the rest of your life, and it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, I wish I had gotten a degree in something that in publishing, but either way, you know, you can still make your own path.
Yeah, that's the sense of ownership. I think it's very, very important. Tell me exactly how is it that you are helping writers? So just give me an example, a very tangible example of coaching.
Sure. I mean, you know, sometimes it's as simple as just, you know, reading through a book manuscript and pointing out, you know, typos and misspellings. But a lot of what I do is big picture stuff. So I'll look at your manuscript and I'll be able to say to you, oh, you know, you've done a great job on these things, but here are these areas that you really need to be, you know, focusing on more. So maybe you need a little more, you know, work when it comes to character development, or maybe the structure feels a little off, or, you know, or maybe, you know, your tone is muddled and, you know, it's very hard to understand, you know, who you're targeting this book towards. And so, you know, what I'll do is, you know, I'll outline that for people, and then I'll give suggestions on how they can fix it. And, you know, I do a lot of one-on-one brainstorming with writers in order to, you know, help them, you know, reach their realization on their own, so that they are more motivated to go ahead and make those changes. And that's the part I really like. I mean, like I said, I mean, you know, my company also provides editorial services, so that's a lot more, you know, here's the manuscript, make it look pretty. But it's really satisfying for me to help people really, you know, get to the heart of things and really, you know, make their project as strong as possible.
Yeah. And I guess it's also the human connection, because you really feel that you are making like a long-term impact on that person.
Yeah, you know, and because usually, you know, these are long-term projects. You know, when I'm coaching someone, it's not just for the afternoon. And it's really great to see them grow over time, you know, and even when it's not, you know, I work with beginning writers, I work with writers who've been doing this for years and years and years. So it's not necessarily going from, you know, Gosling to Swan or whatever, but you know, either, no matter where they are in their journey, you know, everyone has some room to grow, and it's really great getting to help them get there.
Yeah, we were just talking also about ghostwriting and how sometimes that's a little bit difficult, because you kind of give life to something that you cannot own. You cannot say, this is me who brought it to life. So how do you do that?
Yeah, well, and, you know, and actually, you know, I wanted to say that I work with a lot of people who have done ghostwriting and who have worked as, you know, as freelance authors and things like that. And then when it comes time for them to do their own book project with their name on it, they're doing it just for them, you know, they really lack the confidence to, you know, move forward with that project, because they're used to having, I guess, a little bit of a safety net with, you know, whoever they're working with. And so that's, you know, also something that I work with people on, because you really, I mean, as you know, writing can be a very lonely, solitary profession. And so you really need to have, you know, an advocate or like a buddy in your corner saying, you can do this, like, you've got the skills, let's just figure out the next steps and go from there. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. As I was saying, many other people that are self-employed and basically have their companies, it's not always a very smooth path, no? Like there are moments when you are crying in your fists and you don't know what to do. And you are deciding whether this is the thing for you, and like every other day you are rethinking whether you should just go for safety and have a retirement.
I mean, and safety is a huge thing. I mean, and I know it was, excuse me, for me, you know, because there is even when I was working in the entertainment industry, it was still, I had a 9 to 5 job. I had health insurance. I had, 401k. I had lots, and so do I really want to give that comfort up, on the hope that I can do all this on my own? And, obviously, knock on wood, it seems to be working out pretty well for me, but I definitely understand that fear when it comes to taking the leap. And then it's a lot of hard work. It's not just about setting up your website and, learning how to do Facebook ads. I mean, it's tough, and it's, you have to work every day because no one else is, you're the CEO and you're the employee. So yeah.
Yeah. And it's not only about the tangible things, as you said, like setting up the system, is mostly, for me at least, is mostly about the mindset. And, it's just now in this maybe last month that I've started understanding that for me there is no other option. For a while I was holding on to this illusion that okay, I can go back to safety if things don't work out, and then I understood that no, I'm gonna make it work. It's that.
Yes, and and that even on my most miserable days, where things just aren't going right, and oh my gosh, I have to invest money in this to get this to work. I really enjoy being my own boss and the flexibility that comes from that, and getting to do things my way, frankly.
Yeah. It's really cool. It's very refreshing to hear this, and I think that is very helpful for many people who are gonna be exposed to this, to understand that there will be moments when you have to decide again and again that this is what you want to do.
Yes, and and you can also you should obviously definitely have determination and stick with things, and if things don't go badly for the first 3 days, that doesn't mean they always will. But I also found it very liberating to realize that one of the best things about working for yourself, being an entrepreneur, working freelance, is that it's not always going to remain the same. You can change and morph with time, and so you might be working with one type of clients now, but next year you might be going in a different direction, and you don't have to feel that you're trapped like you might have when you were working in your 9 to 5.
Yeah, there is a lot of freedom in that, and there is a lot of responsibility, but it's just like before I used to be very afraid of this word responsibility, and now I understand that it's very much about the freedom that you have and the ownership that you have over that freedom.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks for sharing that. You started in the offline, right? And then you switched to online.
Yes.
How was that? And maybe what did you find challenging?
I think my biggest challenge, like I said to you earlier, I've always had clients and people that I've been working with, and most of that was, referral based, which is of course always great. And I still do that. But I decided to branch out and, start offering, reaching out to people online and offering services online and all of that. And so, my biggest challenge was, adjusting my mindset to, how things work online, because when you're doing it in person, you just go up and you shake someone's hand, you hand them your business card, that's basically it. And so, it was just kind of, I wouldn't say I've mastered anything, but it was getting used to the idea of, how do you communicate with people online? How do you reach those audiences? And, learning things like Facebook ads and learning things like, how to write the correct copy for the website and, setting up shopping carts online and all of those things. So that's definitely, the more technical aspects are definitely my biggest challenges, but it was also, figuring out how that works. And also, as everybody knows, whether they have an online business or not, you definitely deal with different types of people who contact you online. So it's a different type of client. People have more access to you. So one of the things I've had to get used to is, actually saying no to a lot of things because, people will find you. And I think that's wonderful. And I'm so happy that people are finding me. But, often I'll, get requests, well, I can't really afford this. Can we, can you do a discount? And, of course, the first few times you think, oh, of course, sure. I'm just starting out this aspect of my business. But then after a while, you have to ask yourself, what is my time really worth? Because otherwise you end up dedicating a lot of your time to doing things for free or discounted rates. And, so I guess kind of hardening my heart a little bit has been another big challenge.
I hear you. I do hear you. I remember I heard something from an entrepreneur who gave me this piece of advice. He told me, be very careful what you are gonna set as rates, because maybe at the beginning you truly want to work with everybody because you're like, oh, I can totally do this and I can help everybody. And then you get to a point where you are underselling yourself and you are becoming a little bit resentful. Of the people that you are working with, of the work itself. So from a passion, you get to a point where you feel drained constantly. And I think that that's really one of the worst things that you can do.
Exactly. And I think lots of, entrepreneurs or whoever else deal with, imposter syndrome, where they can't really believe that someone could pay them that amount per hour or per project or something like that. And that's just something that people have to get over. Otherwise, like you said, they, really start feeling resentment, and then they get burnt out, and then all of their reasons for starting this exciting new journey kind of fly out the window because they don't want to do it anymore. And that doesn't help anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. You were mentioning some of the things that you are doing online. So you mentioned Facebook ads and setting up shopping carts. I'm wondering if you have like some step system from how do you find your client, and from when you find a prospect, for example, and turning them into a customer, something that other people could also implement.
Sure. Yeah. I basically have just learned a lot from watching other people and attending webinars and things like that. But my biggest thing that I always, ask myself, and then if I would advise anybody, is to ask yourself who you want your client to be. Because I could easily say, oh, I want to work with every author in the world. I want to, change people. I want to change every writer's life. And, but that's too broad. Okay, I want to work with book authors. And, there's some book coaches out there that only work with nonfiction authors. And, I still do nonfiction and fiction. And then, it's asking, it's knowing your market. There are definitely lots of other book coaches out there. I'm not the only person doing this. But it's figuring out, okay, well, I want, I really like working with, entrepreneurs. I like working with, younger groups of people. So I, will target my advertising towards them. And so, that's basically my method. I wish I had like a 10-step process to say, do this, do that, do this, but as I said, I'm still figuring this stuff out anyway. But when it comes to actually bringing clients in, one of the things that I, offer through my website or through people who contact me online is I'll do, a complimentary 15-minute phone call with them, which usually ends up being more like 30. That allows me to talk to them and hear what their projects are, and I'm able to, talk to them so they can see I'm a real person. I know what I'm talking about, and so they can see that I'm worthy of working with, but that also gives me the opportunity to kind of vet them and see if this is the type of client that I want to work with.
Yeah.
So, while initially when I heard about people doing those calls, I think, but you're giving them all this stuff for free. But, I think it's a great screening process because you really want to have a great relationship with your clients and you want to make them happy. But, at the same time, you also want to make sure that this is something that works for you.
Yeah, I totally hear you. And I really enjoy that process too. For me, it's more about knowing if I am able to serve them, like not only with a tangible job, also if we are aligned in our values. It's really, really important. For me, it's very important because then afterwards, like everything runs much, much smoother. Everything goes very, very easily once you know that you are both on the same side. And there is trust.
Yeah, exactly. Trust. And it's so important to set up those, to set up good relationships because, these people can end up being repeat clients.
Yeah.
And, yes, most of the time it's just someone who contacts you, wants you to do something for 8 hours and then you send them off into the world. But it's relationship building is a huge thing people need to learn how to do. And I think for a lot of people, it doesn't necessarily come naturally. But with a lot of practice, you can do it.
Yeah. And there is something else that I just thought about. Sometimes I get really passionate about a project and like I can't even hide it. You get what I'm saying? And I feel in that very moment, I feel that whatever I need to work on that, I want to work on that. And the other person feels that and they feel that I really want to support them. And I think it's so beautiful when you recognize each other and it's like, okay, yes.
yes, exactly. And that's why I think it's so important that while people are operating their businesses online, that they still have that human touch when they're dealing with clients because, as I said, there are a zillion book coaches out there, or people who provide services like mine. But when I can actually get them on the phone or really be interacting with them, then we can really feel each other's energy. And, like you said, if I'm really passionate about a project, they're going to be able to see that. And, they're going to want that more than someone who's just, kind of wants to fill out a checklist and,
Yeah. I wanted to mention something regarding that too. I forgot it. It just blew my mind what I wanted to say. Well, maybe I'm gonna remember that.
Well, I'm here, so
for another 10 minutes.
Yes.
Okay, I forgot it. Tell me about what you think about business success. How does that look to you?
Business success, obviously, I want to make money like everyone else. So I will periodically set business goals for myself. I attended this really great webinar done by Denise Duffield Thomas.
Yeah.
And yes. So, all about manifesting money. And so it was amazing because I set a goal for myself that I thought was ridiculous. And then I actually achieved it and more. And so I learned to set goals for myself. So whether it's, I want to make, $10,000 in the next 2 months, or if it's, this year I want to take my business into the 6 figures, I will do that. Because obviously I don't want to, just do this as a hobby. This is my life's work and my life's passion. So, obviously success means financial success to me, but it also means all of those great things that are the reason why people become entrepreneurs and work for themselves. I still want to have, freedom. I want to have, the freedom to work from wherever I want in the world. I've worked obviously in Asia. I've worked driving across the United States. I've worked, I work in my pajamas in my living room. And, all of the freedom that provides. And business success to me is also to be constantly growing and evolving. The type of business I'm in, it doesn't stay the same every day. It's not, like being an accountant or something, where basically, yes, laws change and you have to keep up with things like that, but you're basically providing the same services every day. And so, yeah, so as long as I'm making money and I'm working with clients that I like and I'm having the freedom to do things as I want to do them, that means I'm happy in my business.
I remembered what I wanted to say. We were talking about unique and how there are plenty of people who are providing similar services to your own. And I think it's also important to mention for the people who are just starting and maybe people who are already in business for a while, this touch, your personal flavor is really truly what makes the difference. That is what sets you apart. Because when you are making, for example, web design or when you are coaching people, no, I think that with coaching is much more important. The same website, for example, there are, I don't know, thousands, maybe millions of people who could create it. But it's this relationship that you are building and how you are helping, how you are serving, that is totally, totally unique to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And that comes down again to figuring out who you want your clients to be and who your audience is. Because I mean, anyone can have a website now, but if you go to a website and it has a certain feel or it's disorganized or something, you're not going to sign up with that person. Whereas if you go, to this other website and it speaks more clearly to you or has a better vibe, then you're more likely to sign up with that person. And, and not just in websites, in all areas of your business, you need to put your personal touch on that so that you can really connect with potential clients and customers.
Yeah. And I also wanted to mention something that was related to your business success and how important it is to you, your personal growth. So not only the financial freedom, the freedom to travel, but also being able to invest in yourself. And I think that this is also something that many entrepreneurs have in common. The constant to grow and to achieve something more. And having a goal is like, I also realized how important it is to have a goal and to have it very precisely present in your mind and in your soul, because you know where you are going, right? So like, if I just want to be a millionaire, well, okay. But if I don't know by when and how it's going to make me feel, then chances are that, I don't know, maybe I'm going to become a millionaire. But maybe,
and something people need to, remember, and I have to remind myself of this every day, is you're your own best advocate. I mean, there are going to be plenty of people that will tell you can't do this, or you should be doing something more practical, and there are going to be friends and family that are saying, great job, go, go, go. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. And so, you need to be able to set those goals for yourself and hold yourself accountable, and not sell yourself short. But, also at the same time, a big lesson I've learned is you also need to know not to beat yourself up about everything every day, because there are going to be the days that maybe you miss your goal by just a little bit or something, or something doesn't work out, or a project falls through, and, that's okay. You learn from the experience and you move on. Because I think it's just natural for a lot of people who are working for themselves or working freelance or whatever to, take things really personally and beat each other up.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Megan. It was very insightful for me. I everybody will appreciate your knowledge and everything that you shared today. I've posted your website. I'm gonna place a link in the comments on YouTube and in this video too. Is there anything else that you would like to share?
No, I've enjoyed being on your podcast, and, I wish everybody luck with whatever their, life's journey is. If, it's entrepreneurship, obviously if it's writing a book, where to find me. But, I think people are doing really exciting things now. I think this time in history is allowing people to really get out there and achieve their dreams in new ways that weren't available before. So I wish everybody the best of luck with that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you again, Megan. Guys, I hope it was helpful for you, and see you next week. Bye.
Bye.